Samantha Benz, and I'm showing you that I have 5 audience members for my presentation on talk shows. Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about talk shows. I'm going to go over the history, the different types, how they interact with communications, and how they affect their audience. According to Answer.com, there's evidence of the earliest radio talk show. It was called America's Town Meeting of the Air, and it aired in 1929. They tried having the first call-in talk show, which made it difficult with technology, but they did have an in-house audience where people would boo and cheer and also heckle the audience member or the special guests that would arrive for the show. They were a big part of it, and they participated on their daily shows. Some of the hosts that switched between radio and television had a hard time with the transition between the two. There's a prime example of this with Mary Margaret McBride. She had a women's radio show, and whenever she was on the air, she felt awkward, and she didn't think that she was good enough to be on television, so she went back to radio. There's a long history of TV talk shows, and it dates back to the 1950s. The majority of the early shows were more geared towards politics and government. These shows usually took place on Sunday, and the most famous show was Small World, hosted by Edward Murrows. In the 1960s and 70s, that's when more of your celebrity-hosted shows became about. And they replaced your game shows that would take place during the day. The longest-running talk show is from Ireland, and it's called The Late Late Show, and that show started in 1962, and it's currently still on the air. The Tonight Show is just as old as The Late Late Show, but it's switched networks and programming so many times that they don't count it as the longest running. Also, the first host of The Tonight Show was Steve Allen, and that show began in New York as just a local show, and then it became syndicated by NBC in 1954. Radio, according to Encyclopedia.com, programs were more politically forced. There are several liberal and conservative hosts that voice their views in daily programming. Two popular ones, one is Rush Limbaugh. He became well-known and well-paid for his hosting of the show. He specialized in conservative views, and he also was very boisterous of his feelings about President Clinton. NPR, which is National Public Radio, is also another popular radio show, and that was founded in 1970. As far as early television goes, the first talk shows in the 1950s were broadcasted on Sundays, and they dealt with political and social issues that people felt they needed to address. As far as late night goes, the late night show started in the 1960s and the 1970s. Almost every network had their own late night show, and they tried to compete with each other to have the best late night show. Some of these include The Late Night Show with David Letterman, The Tonight Show, and now back on the air, Conan. As far as daytime talk goes, the rise of the daytime talk began in the late 70s, early 80s, and they dealt with more social issues and tips for the home. Some of these are Oprah, Kelly and Regis, The View, and Ellen. The View has a panel of different women from different nationalities, and they try to focus on issues that we typically would not address. And this gears more towards the social impact on communication. And if any of you have never heard of a tabloid show, tabloid shows are the type of shows that focus on disagreements between their guests and shows that push the boundaries of social consciousness. These shows became popular in the late 1980s and into the 1990s, and one of the most popular ones is Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer started in 1990, and I believe he is still on the air. Another example of this is the Maury Povich Show, who typically holds shows that are like Who's My Daddy, Paternity Test, things like that. A fun fact for you, the Guinness Book of World Records recorded that on August 28th, 2007, there was a 35-hour talk show during a festival that took place in Croatia. So that's a little fun fact for you. The way that talk shows relate to communications, both radio and television operate by using a linear communication module. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, linear modules are one of the most productive schematic models of communication systems. And by using the information, they're pushing it out there, but they're not getting back. So they're telling you what they want you to hear, but they're not listening for your response. And a fun fact for the worst talk shows on TV history. Fox News did an article naming the worst TV talk shows. A few of them included The Magic Hour, hosted by Magic Johnson. Not sure if any of you guys knew that existed. The Chevy Chase Show, The Tony Danza Show, the Sharon Osbourne Show, and Alf's Hit Talk Show. Didn't know Alf had a show, but that could be pretty interesting. And how talk shows affect their audiences. Talk shows affect them by bringing real life issues to the forefront of your mind. A lot of them will include guests that people wouldn't get to meet in their normal day lives. So take, for instance, having a celebrity on your show that you would never get to meet but you wanted to know about. So that's how they pretty much relate. And they also pull on your emotional strings. They have shows that are geared around drama so that it makes you want to watch them and pull you in. So I hope you liked our show today. We cover a lot of information about the different history, the different types of shows, and how they relate to communication. So don't forget to watch us next week when we talk about how to make your perfect Thanksgiving turkey. Thank you.